Good evening and welcome along to the latest edition of the Endless Celts Podcast. Somebody's obviously just walked in and Jed there.
Aye.
Well, welcome on everybody that's in the comments. I don't know if it's got to be busy nights. Obviously, the weather's been playing up, so I hope everybody's not had too much damage to their house or gardens and stuff. Obviously, some of the pictures I've seen on the telly are quite horrific. McGinty's been sharing some mad pictures in the group chat that he's seen while he's had to be out of work and stuff. Me and my neighbour were trying to salvage the fence earlier. I think we've done all right with the side fence, but the back fence, I think I'll wake up to no fence at the back the more I like.
I sent you the video of my daughter's house.
Well, we weren't too sure if you were going to be on the night, Jed, because
no, the back's going up to our partner's dad's. With the wee, just because the wee man's only 13 months old. So
he's young.
They're way up there.
Well, hopefully it doesn't turn too drastic, that one, because it didn't look a great picture, Jed, I'll be honest, or video I should say. But I'll start with yourself, Gav. How's your cell? I hope the weather's been kind to you wherever you are.
Well, I'm in Darvel and it's been crazy, man. Like, you could just hear the wind swirling around all day. I was working from home, which I normally do, but at 1 o'clock, there was a power cut, and not only was there just a power cut, like, it stopped everything. Like telephone signal, Wi-Fi, power was out, even the central heating went off as well. And like, my wife was in, and we've got our daughter, 2-year-old, and it was just a nightmare. I couldn't even contact my boss to say, like, I can't work anymore, you know. And the power came back on at 5 today, so that just like completely killed the rest of my working day. And we're just like so perplexed that we can't even get a phone signal to like call anyone or whatever. So I couldn't contact anybody for work to say what happened. So for all I know, my boss has already scheduled me in for like a disciplinary for going AWOL today. But it's like it came back on. So I think like 4 hours without power, but then it went back off again about an hour ago. So if I do get cut off tonight, I apologise. But like today,
I think we're just going to have to accept. We're going to have to just accept what happens, Gav, with anybody. I think anybody's power, I think, could go off.
It makes you realise how dependent we are on like machines. It makes me think of the Matrix, you know, like how we're so dependent on like machines these days. And we had the candles out and stuff like that, and like try to entertain a 2-year-old, like
madness.
What are you gonna do? But so here we are. I'm really glad that we could actually do a podcast tonight to see you guys to talk about Celtic. A lot of mad things have been happening recently, so I'm sure we've got a lot to talk about.
They haven't. Sam Fran just got self-indulged myself saying a nice talk. I thought in honour of the main man Jota. Apparently, I think it's all but confirmed coming back. I thought it's only that weird that the Bumblebee top the night. But Jed, obviously how's your selling? Obviously you were telling us briefly there about your daughter's house. Obviously we've seen a video in your group chat of the water coming in. Not nice.
Yeah, I work from home today, but I made that decision early yesterday. I was going to do that. I just didn't want to be driving all over the place today. But so yeah, just based myself up the stair. Wife was off. The 2 mother daughters that staying with us, they were off. So it was a kind of riot down the stairs. So I was glad to be up the stair. Says the only person that to come up and see me was the dog, nobody else. So that was it. But just when I seen Sam Fran's name coming up there, Sam Fran I was talking about yesterday. I know you go on to the, mine's just went blank, another Celtic chat podcast, and Brido is on it. He's one of the guys on it, and I know Brido, and we were talking about it yesterday, saying it, you appear on both shows, so it is much appreciated. So it is just seeing you back there tonight.
I know, appreciate everybody that kind of gets involved and watches and shares and stuff. It's good to see, and thankfully I had the day off. My boss, I was meant to be over in Dunfermline, so I would have been over the bridges today doing training, but
no, you wouldn't have.
I know I wouldn't have, no. But they phoned the training centre, and it was only really the test we had to do. I'd been on training for a couple of days there, and they were like, no, you can just send your guys to do the training all day. So I was told at 7:30, didn't bother sitting in the house. But I think a wee bit of that was down because I'd be travelling in the works van, and he's probably looked at it and went, something happens, I'll not be insured with the works insurance here. So I think it was one of them, just a wee Friday off. So it worked out. It worked out. And there's San Fran saying Brido.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, he's a sound lad. And then it's this John Ford just saying, I saw a bit of wind damage at Parkhead. That's kind of no surprise. We'll kind of get into that later when we talk about potentially the Dundee game. But we'll just kind of get on to Wednesday's game, lads. Obviously, Champions League night, the biggest game of the season. It was a win, not necessarily at the time, Jed, guaranteed you at least the playoffs. I think it was the way, obviously, the fixtures worked, the results worked over the Tuesday, Wednesday. Ultimately, the result did guarantee us Champions League football and the knockout stages with a game in hand, which was great. But what did you think of the game? Just kind of an overview of the game. Yeah, I can't remember if you were at the game or not.
Yeah, I was at the game. Listen, I actually said in their group chat just before kick-off, look, guys, I'll take a 1-0 here as long as we win. I expected to win by more, but listen, we done what we had to do. We got the 3 points. That was our target at the start of the campaign, to try and get into the knockout stages. We've done that, and we've put on some good performances. I thought we were very good in the first half. I think it was an injustice that we weren't leading going in at half time, because we played some amazing football. And a guy I've said numerous times, I've been quite critical of him. I thought Callum McGregor was outstanding in the first half. So it was, but at the end of the day, we totally deserved that win. Yeah. So we did.
No, I think we did. Gavin, I don't know about yourself, how you would have been at the game as well, I believe. But I don't know how we use convinced as Jed. Obviously, first half performance was brilliant. I thought McGregor was great. We will talk about the goals, or the disallowed goals. Personally, I'm not sure with them. But how did you kind of see the game?
Well, can I just firstly remark how kind of peculiar it is that history has repeated itself? Because back in 1993, that's my first ever memory of being at a Celtic game with Celtic and Young Boys. It was in the jungle. My dad took me, and it was a very, very unremarkable game. But I remember we won 1-0, my own goal, and I had this. From the match we got a pendant, and it was this large one, triangular shaped, black. With green trim. It was a beautiful one. I used to have it up on my wall for years and years and years. And eventually, whenever I took down my Celtic posters, whenever I was getting a change, I don't know what's happened to it. It's not resurfaced after many years of flitting from here and there. So I fear I might have lost it. But I was just a great treasure of that game. And for more than 30 years to pass now, and the same team visits Parkhead, and we come away with a significant win for what it means in the course of this season, the campaign, and it's just really kind of remarkable how history has repeated itself. But the game itself, totally agree with Jed. The first half we were on fire. Callum McGregor, possibly his best performance of the season for the first half, anyway. The fact that we went in goalless with 3 goals, disallowed and a missed penalty, you're thinking, how is the second half going to unfold? It was a totally different game in the second half. We faded. We gave energy to Young Boys, and they came into the game. They weren't I wouldn't say they're a bad team. They're just a very, very poorly coached team with a lack of confidence. They were very haphazard in their kind of their play, but the physicality certainly kind of daunted us at times. And Kasper Schmeichel obviously came to the fore. So I don't want to go into the kind of key points. I'm sure we will do. But second half, we were put through the ringer as fans, and to come away, as Jed said, you would take a 1-0. You would just take a scrappy 1-0. And at the end, that's how we got it. Very, very scrappy. But my God, we were delirious with that victory. And I couldn't leave. The guy next to me, once the goal went in, he was like, right, I'm off ski. And I'm like, no, I need to stay. I can't. I need to stay till the final whistle. I need to be with the guys. And it was just a brilliant, brilliant game. I was so glad that I was there. I feel fortunate to have witnessed that. That'll be one of the games we might look back on, because that was the game that puts us into the next round of the Champions League in the new format. And it was kind of monumental in itself. And it's something that Brendan Rodgers has never done before. And it's with this team. They can all be proud of themselves. So I'm really, really happy. And I think that over the course, we can look at this as a great success. It is a sign of progress. However, on the flip side, just one little negative, if we never achieved it, if we drew or if we lost, I think you could very easily say that this would have been a failure. So it was on a knife edge. So on a knife edge, that one goal, that one lucky goal that we got was the difference between success and failure. Fans criticising and fans praising you. So that's how much of a knife edge we were on Wednesday night. So I loved it, man.
I know. Franny, sorry. I meant to
go.
say as well, with you been at the game, I don't know if you thought the same as me. When, just before the game kicked off and both teams were getting ready to start, I looked at them and thought, my God, look at the size of them. It's like playing Livingston. Especially the number 35. They were some big units.
Yeah,
the guys. So
you noticed it set plays, I thought.
Yeah.
Really noticed it set plays.
They were a big team.
That's a great point. But Ian O'Callaghan, I never noticed that. Obviously, after the game, usually to probably been well gone by then, but everybody's probably seen the video of the young Celtic fan going over and the young boys fans doing the sort of dance with him and that. Absolutely brilliant. Just it's great to see that for away fans just getting involved in things like that, and that would have made that wee boy's day. And then he's got a memory for a lifetime at the end of the day of the football. But I was the same as used to. Obviously, I was at the game again. He'll not be listening, but thanks to my good friend Andy Coulter, sorted me and my sister out in the Adidas box, so we had complimentary drinks and food and all that before we had to venture outside in the cold. But I felt the atmosphere brilliant at the game. Second half, I do think, I wouldn't say the atmosphere got bad. I think it was more nerves because what we're realising, I think it was just the fans realising it was more nerves. So it felt like moans and groans, just I say nervousness, it was kicking in, but I think it was around about 75 minutes. Just the fans just really got re-energised again. I think that just dragged the team on. And like you say, Gavin, I noticed folk leaving with 10 minutes to go. The mean Jed spoke about it on Monday. Folk maybe have legit reasons why they need to leave early. But if you've not got a reason to leave early, I just don't know how you can, that magnitude of games and it's sitting on a knife edge at 0-0, how can you leave just in case? Because I don't care who you're playing, I would always believe, maybe naively, that Celtic will get that one chance, and thankfully we did. And yeah, it was scrappy, but fair play to Ida. He done everything right. The pass was ridiculous. He done everything right, but as I say, we'll get on to that. But I'll just kind of come straight back to you, Gav, and we'll
Can I ask, how was your match day experience in the box? How was the prawn sandwiches?
Without sounding like a toff, it's not the first time I've been in this box. I've been in a couple of times, and I've been in prior when Nike had it. So I've been in there. It's obviously the same box, but Adidas do it a lot better than Nike. It's Nike's shirt and tie, sit-down meal. If you're not there when the meals says you're out, because it's a sit-down pre-courser, you don't get in the box until half an hour before kick-off, whereas Adidas, just come in when you want. It's a buffet. I use the term loosely, buffet. It's like steak and all that. It's decent food. But, it's buffet style. So you just kind of help yourself and stuff. But it's the way to watch football. I'm not going to lie. It's an absolute sitting there just getting free drink up until kick-off. The pies you get at half-time are definitely not the ones you queue up from the kiosk. I'll tell you that for free.
You bastard.
It's not the ones you queue up for there. And then there was no prawn sandwiches, Gavin. I was a wee bit annoyed. It was just a cheese board and some crackers and things like that.
Oh, my heart's bleeding for you.
And then you get a couple drinks after it. So you're in there we're in there at about 10:30 and stuff. And we got a nice wee medallion of the game, a Champions League style medallion of the game. But I'm going to give that to my dad because he was the one that was meant to go with me, but he's on holiday, so had to miss out. So me and my sister went. So he'll get that as a wee. I mean, it'll mean more to him than it does to me, I suppose, just because he missed out on it. But San Fran, I am a sucker for a freebie. I'm not going to shame for it. Not going to shame for it at all. Not going to shame for it. But you've got to take these perks when you get them at the end of the day. But I heard a wee rumour that Adidas are maybe going to start making the Rangers strips next season because there was a couple of guys for Adidas in the box, and my pal Andy had heard wee rumours, so I was kind of digging deep there, and the boy did not confirm, but he did not deny it. So if I did start making the Rangers kits the next season, I don't think I'll be in the box much more, because my friend's a big Rangers fan, so he'll be applying for Ibrox instead of Parkhead. But I, Gav, we'll just come to you on the free disallowed goals anyway. Just talk about them as you wish. As I say, no complaints. The Cal McGregor one, it kind of frustrated me, because when you see the replays, probably doesn't need to make the challenge how he does, but he's eager to get in there. I get it. He's trying to win the ball back quick. He sees the boy struggling, but the goals, no issue with them. Been chopped up, can't have an issue with them.
Yeah, it was good to see Callum McGregor pressing that far up. Sometimes he does that in the midfield. He commits to a tackle, and sometimes we can get exposed because they manage to kind of navigate around him. But this time, he kind of caught the boy cold. But yeah, he did take he took the man. He took the man rather than the ball. Whenever I watched it in real time, I thought it was a perfect challenge. And then Kyogo, ice cool in front of goal. He kind of took his time. He got his angle before he passed it past the keeper. But whenever we on the screen, this was the first time I've noticed it. And whenever the VAR makes a call and overrule the decision, they actually justify it with text and the actual screen, and you can see what player committed the infringement, what specifically he did wrong, and you're like, right, okay, well, at least I'm informed, rather than the people who are watching it at home who can clearly see a million replays from different angles. So it was nice to actually be at the game and not be howling about an injustice, having it actually explained to you without seeing the replay. But that was nice. That was the first time I remember that this season in Champions League. Jed, I don't know if you can remember previous games in the Champions League where I've done that.
That's the first I've seen it, and as you said, Gavin, I thought it was very informative, and it's certainly the way to go. I would prefer it to see the opposition's goal getting chalked off for their reasons, but no, I thought that was good. And it did, by the way, let's not kid ourselves, every one of them was correct.
Yeah. They were. I mean, north side ones as well, like that obviously where I was sitting, you can't really see the screens just because of the natural structure of the stadium. You can't see the screens, but I heard folks saying that in the days after that they had noticed, obviously, you're getting the description. So I think for the matchday fan, that is definitely the way to go, because I think as much as I don't go to the football as much anymore, the VAR is essentially for your armchair fan like myself, the guy that sits and watches in the house, the paying punter like yourselves. VAR, without that description, but it just used to be checking goals, possible offside or whatever, and you're sitting going, well, what are they checking? At least now you're saying, Gav, there with that text, it's at least given the matchday punter that goes week in, week out, gain you a wee bit of clarity, so you're like, well, I understand what they're looking for and why. And as I say, Jed, I'll come to say, like, we can't deny the offside goals as well, but I think what was you notice at the game as well, I know obviously the UEFA use the semi-automated stuff for offside, just how quick they can do that, and can we not just maybe try and find a wee bit more pennies and get that kind of technology in, because it's seconds to tell you're onside or offside.
Well, I think I'm right in saying it. UEFA use the Waitrose, basically the Scottish football using Lidl. That's. I
think we are using the cheapest version of it.
Yeah, but I mean it worked. It worked. But I think as well as Gavin said as well, the finishing from Kyogo and how fitting would it have been for him to get a hat trick in that game after for what we all know now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I know. Totally.
It would have been first class, and I think every fan would have went, well done.
Oh no, totally. Like, I don't know. Well, Gav, you're sort of a resident. You and Anthony Dunn, but a resident sort of a encyclopedia when it comes to Celtic a bit. But has there ever been a Celtic player scored a hat trick? Not necessarily in Europe, but that you know of a Celtic player scored a hat trick of goals. Never mind the first half, because I think that's very, very rare and probably not happened. But any Celtic player scored a hat trick and they've all been chopped off.
Certainly not that I'm aware of. No, I would. I'm sure that Jed has got a better knowledge than myself over Celtic for over the years. But no, I can't think of a Celtic player who's accomplished that feat. And it's just kind of bittersweet, as Jed said. It's a great point. The fact that only a few people knew probably that this was going to be Kyogo's final game. However, I know that we'll get to this, but I wonder if the result had a bearing on it. If we never secured automatic qualification, if the announcement would have been announced the following day, maybe that was the caveat. If Celtic qualify, then you can announce it. If not, we need to play Aston Villa.
Surely it had to be.
But yeah. So Kyogo, I thought Kyogo had a really, really good game. And it's just bittersweet they never scored. But he was on form. He was not ducking out of harm's way. He was getting in the right positions. I don't know if you want to say that maybe he was a little bit over eager. But there was 3 times he was in the back of the net. And that's what we've been accustomed to see. Don't want to get too much into Kyogo. I know that we'll maybe speak about it.
I'm just going to kind of jump way ahead anyway. We can come back to it because it feels fitting just to kind of talk about Kyogo now. And I'll just come to yourself. Like, I think Gavin made good points. You said yourself, and even watched it, he'd never seemed to shirk at a challenge. He gave 100%. And obviously there's a bit of that because he knows that is going, well, like Gav said, with a caveat, if we win, that's his last game. So I think he played in a very professional manner, like he has in his 3.5 years. But he's played in a very professional manner and has went without a goal, but he's went out in the right fashion in the sense that he didn't shirk for it, didn't hide for it, and didn't pull out challenge. He gave everything on Wednesday night.
I think as well, Fran, I think what it boils down to as well is it's the Japanese culture. It's all about respect. And he certainly showed us as fans respect by performing the way he did the other night or the last. I mean, look up at Ross County as well, when he'd already indicated to the club that he would like to go. But he still was so professional in doing it. And he goes now with our best wishes. I wish he was staying to the end of the season because I think he deserves to be holding the trophy in front of all the fans and getting the send-off he deserves.
Nah, totally. Like I say, he was trying like a bear the other night, Gavin, which I say you can only compliment the guy for that.
Trying like a bear?
Probably the wrong word to use, Probably the wrong word to say under the circumstances. But he gave everything for that 75 minutes to 80 minutes that he was on the park. It's just a shame because, like Jed said, there probably was. Obviously, Rodgers would have knew. Callum McGregor, he expected knew. Maybe a couple other senior players would have knew that he was further off, providing with the caveat of the result, obviously. But we're only guessing that. We're only guessing that's the case. But it seems for it to happen so soon after that game, it seems that maybe was one of the caveats that had to be that result, and it's just a shame that he's not got that proper send off that the guy deserves.
I agree. Yeah. He's obviously been desperate to go. We've kind of found out from Brendan Rodgers' point of view that Kyogo intimated that he wanted to leave at the start of the season, and that kind of feeling has been growing. And he said that a week ago or whatever in a presser. It might not have even been a week ago, but he said that if a player wants to go, we'll never hold him here. And I think that the fact that there was no flat out denial, and the fact that he was a little bit coy in his words, that the writing was on the wall at that point. And by the way, need to shout out to Stephen in our podcast. He was right all along. He just had this hunch that this was going to be the final season for Kyogo, and lo and behold, it wasn't even going to be a full season we'd get from him. So we've had 3.5 seasons from him, and it's been nothing but hard work. And whenever you talk about his attitude, like that kind of Japanese culture, it's actually been kind of, without sounding cheesy, it's been kind of like humbling to actually witness stuff like, apart from on the field, like you see, even off the field, like kind of like miscellaneous things. Whenever he'd be subbed, he'd be walking back to the bench midway through a game when he's been subbed off in the second half, and he's like maybe picking up litter and stuff like that. Just little things like that, which is part of the Japanese culture, which we would maybe kind of like joke at and think, why are you doing that? Why are you lowering yourself to that? That's beneath you. But for them, they just have a different kind of outlook on life and their profession. They take it extremely seriously, and there's behaviours that we could learn from them. But as a player, as a modern day icon, that's what I would call him. Like I know that we like to use the word legend. I'm not going to go into down that street, but I would say a modern day icon. I think maybe we can all kind of get behind that. But first class attitudes in terms of like his final game last night, he put his heart and soul into it. He never shut. He was running the hard yards, and he does that in every single game. It's not one of those players where like you either know if he's going to be on it or if he's going to be off it, if he fancies it or not. He always gives 100%. He plays for the shirt. Goals, he's pretty much, if you look at his goal tally, it's pretty much like 1 in every 2 games. He's been. His IQ in the final third, the amount of times that he makes the right decisions. Yes, he might not be an absolute sharpshooter like a kind of Robbie Fowler in terms of like finishing, but for what he's delivered for us, it's still a very, very high standard. And as I said, hardworking. He's been so charismatic. His personality is infectious to his teammates. It transmits to the fans. And we speak about icons, and like we had Henrik Larsson, Jed, we had like Kennedy Glacier, people like that. And I think it's very, very important for young fans, not just, I'm sure we're allowed to call him our hero, but for the young fans going to Parkhead, it's so important to have these icons, to have these people that you look up to, that you remember, and it makes you kind of fall in love with the club. And he's one of them for sure. And another thing, he's been a scalper, dependable, home and away against Sevco. I think it maybe took him 1 or 2 games to get up and running against them, but he never stopped. I think one of his most important goals for Celtic against them was a 2-each game I think it was in Andrews. Ibrox 2-each game, where I think it was Aaron Moy. He managed to kind of like let somehow put in a chance from fighting at a ball that looked as if it was going to play, and it just fell to Kyogo, and he thumped it in the back of the net. And I think it was like in the final 10 minutes of the game at Ibrox when they were winning 2-1, and that was a really, really important 2-each draw for Celtic to kind of consolidate where we were in the league. But he had some beautiful memories against them. The one at Ibrox where the ball flew over his shoulder and like one hit right into the bottom corner. I think that was last season. And then again last season at Parkhead, where he jinked in front of one of the players, dropped the shoulder, and he floats through the ball from outside the box into the top corner. So dependable to do that in those games, home and away against them. Not every striker has done that. And another thing about top class attitude is his willingness to play through injury. You know, like he's had the kind of shoulder niggle, and that's kind of plagued him for a few years. But he's always been willing to play through it. Do you remember the Hibs game, the cup final against Hibs, the League Cup final? Well, like we never knew if he was going to make it, and he was the difference maker. He scored 2 goals in that game. As I said, a modern day icon. You don't get too attached to your heroes. They come and go. You know, we are Celtic fans. We'll always stay. But we're going to look back very, very, very fondly upon this man, and I feel fortunate to have seen him.
Gavin, say you're saying that about falling in love with him, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember I said on Monday night on the show at the Kilmarnock game on Saturday. So young boy sitting behind us, and he was in tears when Kyogo got substituted in that Kilmarnock game. So God knows how that wee boy is feeling now when he's telling them, oh, he's not playing for us against when he's away to France. That wee boy will need therapy.
It's mad. And no, that was very good words for you, Gav. You've summed up Kyogo really, really well there. I don't think there's much I can add to it. I was going to say his goals. I think we're really going to have to think clever on replacing him. Obviously, Rodgers has touched on it, Jed, that this has not came as a surprise, this move. So there is work going on in the background. There's talk of the boy that's gaps and just keeps on coming up. It'll not go away. I'm not going to pretend to know much about the guy, but he's had a good season so far this season in Denmark. There seems to be rumours the boy Evan Ferguson at Brighton maybe on loan. I don't see that happening. He was getting muted for about £100 million moves or something in the summer, so I just do not see that one happening. But it's got to be a big task. Whoever comes in to try and replace him, because like Gavin said, his goals are one thing, but it's when he scored these goals and who he scored them against. Whether we like it or not, Jed, you do tend to get judged. You look at, not to really talk about Rangers, but you look at Chris Boyd and Morelos. They lauded these guys, but Chris Boyd, I think, had one goal against us. And
Dead rubber.
Couple, and a dead rubber. And I think Morelos only had a couple. You get judged in these big games. You get judged in Europe Cup finals. He done it all. He scored in them all.
Yeah, and I think as well, like you said, Franny, surely God, we have been looking in that. The Scandinavian player, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name.
I don't even know if I said it right.
Seems to be crop him up all the time, and he fits the profile of the club with his age, 22 years of age. So he's certainly got a sellable asset if he does well. I know he'll be, if we do get him, he will be brought in and he'll be told, look, do well here. You can use it as a stepping stone. Look, we've done it in the past, so that'll help, hopefully. But we definitely need a striker in quick. And it was good to hear Johnson saying, Rogers saying, yeah, Jota's coming, but we're also still looking for that striker. So he's hoping by the end of the transfer window, we will be in a stronger position.
Yeah.
So
we
got a week and a bit to go, guys. So let's get the checkbook out.
I think that you're right, Jed, that it would be criminal for us to be kind of dithering right now about his replacement, for us to allow him to, because make me no mistake, this is very much unusual from a Celtic transfer model to allow your talisman to leave in January. Now, we've still got another Champions League game to go, which could have a bearing on our seeding for the next round of the qualification. We've got half of the domestic campaign to go. I know that we're 13 points ahead, but if you lose your proven goal scorer, who is so consistent, who doesn't get injured very often, and then you're looking at Adam Ida and Johnny Kenny, I'm sorry, but it would be criminal for us not to be very, very sure of who we're getting to replace him, and it has to be very soon. We cannot dither. We cannot wait till the 11th hour in this January transfer window before we bring someone in. And even at that, I've still got my reservations, because it might be Kvistgarden. It looks pretty much that he's the main guy in the rumour mill, and obviously we've been speaking about him for at least a year, maybe longer. So it's probably going to be him. But even at that, like, he needs to hit the ground running, because I don't want for him to be told, like, okay, take your time fitting, okay, no pressure. Like, there's immediate pressure on that guy if he comes in. You need to hit the ground running. I don't want the responsibility to start falling to Adam Ina to be the main number 9. I know he is literally the number 9, but the main centre forward between now and the end of the season. For me, that's not good enough. You need to replace quality with quality. Adam Ida can sit on the bench and come on and try and do a job, which he's been trying all season. But no, he's not going to turn into Mr. Dependable between now and the end of the season. As much as I want him to do that, as much as I want him to be that player, we need to bring in quality, and it's a risky move, this. It's very unusual from Celtic to allow this, but we can't piss about. We need to bring in a quality striker, like, right now. Like, if the guy hasn't arrived right now because of the planes getting delayed, I'll give them that. But tomorrow, let's try and get him in, because no panicking.
Gavin, do you not think we've got I don't mean this is me saying it, I'm thinking as a club maybe think they've got a little bit of a safeguard where Jota comes in and we put Maeda up front?
For me, that then leaves us weak out wide again. We were all saying before Kyogo left, but we needed somebody to help on the wings. Jota does that, but I didn't want it to be.
I'm agreeing with it, but I'm trying to just be devil's advocate and think.
Yeah.
Thinking that we could maybe play Maeda up front and put Jota out in the wing and Kun out in the wing, but we still need backup. We definitely do. We still need players in.
I would have went with that fear until I heard Rogers earlier on. To be honest with you, I'd have maybe understood it a wee bit more and back when I wouldn't put it past him. But the fact that Rodgers said they're actively looking at a striker makes me think he's not. I mean, he did say that obviously he knows Maeda can play through the middle. He's done it twice for him and stuff. But he also said he feels he does his best work out wide and the numbers back it up. So to me, Rodgers is looking at a striker.
Yeah, and it's ironic because what Jed said is like I see the point behind it, and I think that numbers wise, Maeda might be on track for his best goals and assists so far this season. I think I read that, but for me, I just think that Maeda can either be brilliant or it can be tragic sometimes. I think his finishing can be very haphazard, and I want a proven striker. I don't mean that as a slight on Maeda. Maeda is still integral to the Celtic machine, and he can do a job if we're somehow sold ourselves short and we need Maeda to do the job in centre forward. Okay, but I think it would be a dereliction of Rodgers' duty and the board's duty if we replace a centre forward for a winger and try to rearrange the pieces on the board to still be an effective team. I think we need to bring in a proven goal scorer, and if it's Kvaisgaarden, then great. I just want him to hit the ground running.
But
if
Thomas Burns is saying what he's saying there about the Daily Record, now is that a big bit of gamesmanship where they'll basically they're wanting 13.5, but really they'll accept 9-10 million or something like that. I mean, it's still a hell of a lot of money. And if rumours are true that Aston Villa knocked back 10 million from us last week for
the boy young,
now that could be total crap, but that was the rumour. They knocked it back 10 million. They wouldn't say not going any higher.
We're kind of only going on rumours, and I think one of the main reasons the boy Fitzgarden is constantly coming up is because Stephen McGowan has kind of said it, and he seems to be, when it comes to Celtic, he's kind of on the money. Not to say that everyone comes through, but he's usually got his ear in there. I think he's usually bang on the money with at least Celtic targets anyway. And I kind of had deliberately kept this comment up for Thomas Bunsen. Daily Record are saying Bromby want 13.5 from Jed. Obviously, the rumours have been anything between that figure to 8 million. Now, we'll just, for the sake of the question, we'll go away the fact that if it is 13.5 million, do we go out and pay that? I mean, or I do believe I'm with Gavin in the sense that I think bringing in a 21-year-old is a risk. Now, I'm not writing the boy off by any stretch of the imagination. I can't say profess to know anything about the guy, so I wouldn't write him off. It might come in and be a great player. There's a lot of fans certainly online seem to be excited by him, so I'll kind of trust him a wee bit. And certainly if Rodgers likes him, I'll trust him. But if it is to be that 13.5 million, I mean, even the 10 million, it's got to put a lot of pressure on the guy to hit the ground running. To be honest, I don't think the figure is really matters. He's got to be brought in as that Kyogo replacement, if you like, even if he's second fiddle to Ada, so he will be under pressure. But if it has to be 13.5 million, that would then be a Scottish record fee. That's a lot of pressure to put on the young boy to hit the ground running straight away.
Yeah. But Franny, I think no matter who comes in, whether it's 3.5 million or 13.5 million, he's going to have the pressure to fill in Kyogo's boots. And like we've all said here as well, it's not the players' fault. That's the value. It's the club. It's valuing the club. They play at that. It's not the players' fault.
No.
Do I think we'll pay that sort of money in January? No, I don't think we'll. I think the most we'll pay is probably about 9 million. But listen, I'm more than happy to be proved wrong. We've got the money. We can afford to do it. So if we wanted to go out and spend 25 million, 30 million in this transfer window, we can do that.
Yeah.
Whether we do or not is a totally different conversation.
No, totally. I'll kind of come to yourself, Gav, on it. If it is, I'd be surprised if it's as high as that. Just it seems to be around about 10 million, give or take, seems to be the figure. But if it is 13.5 and Rodgers wants him, surely you've got to do it. If that's who Rodgers has identified, obviously I'm not saying pay over the odds for a guy. Don't get don't get shafted. If the guy's worth 8 million, don't be paying 13.5 million for him. But if he's close to that figure, if it's who Rodgers wants, surely you've got to kind of go for it.
Look, it's an interesting figure. So what I understand is that the Swedish league has concluded now. So it's not like we are buying from Brøndby midway through their season. So that's a plus point for us.
Yeah.
However, look, it's an open secret that we've got a ton of cash, and we have been splashing that cash on Ida and on Engels. So I wouldn't put it past the Michael Nicholson to sanction a move for that amount. Although, and yeah, it's high. That's a massive fee. It really is. Like, even if we take into account Ida and Engels, it's still a massive fee. I'm kind of like wary of kind of like going down that path, or whenever we find a player that we really want and we need to get him soon, just like Ida. Well, we had to get him. It was coming to the 11th hour of the window, and we ended up shelling like 9.5 million for him. That I felt that figure was increased because of the time of when we actually purchased him. You know, if we did our business sooner, in the summer window, then that 9 million would have might have been 5 million, 6 million. You know, and I just think that the fact that we need to get a quality replacement in the door pretty much right now, that we might have already boxed ourselves into that position where we need to shell out a hell of a lot of money. And then again, like with this Kyogo thing, obviously Rodgers saw it coming, the board saw it coming, we knew he wanted to leave. And, you know, like I know that Rodgers says like we if a player wants to leave, we don't want to keep him hostage. But we could easily have said to Kyogo, no, you can leave at the end of the season. You know, like he's under contract, and I'm sure he would have accepted that if we said that. But we have left ourselves in a position where we need to bring in a quality replacement right now, and maybe that's going to compel us to spend a lot of money once again, to bring in a player that we hope is going to be that man for us. So I think it's a hell of a lot of money, but I wouldn't be surprised if we spend it. Jed might be right that we might negotiate it down, and that's what you need to do. That's what you do at the table. But if it's around that ballpark figure of 10 plus million, then so be it. So be it, because we're in that position where we need to bring in a quality player. And if he's our main number one target, are we going to compromise on that and go for someone lower down the ranking? You know, I don't know. But from what I've seen of the guy, I think he looks a quality player. He looks very similar to Kyogo. I think he's got more pace over a longer distance than Kyogo, and I think he's got a little bit more physicality. He's still a smallish guy, but I think one thing I've noticed when I was watching his YouTube clips, he's good at receiving the ball with his back to a defender and being able to kind of roll out of that position and still keep the ball. That he kind of looks to enjoy that kind of contact and to be able to free himself and to kind of like run up the park. He also looks as if he can play it across the three, but I think predominantly he will be in the middle, the centre forward. Jed, were you wanting to say something?
Yeah, I think, guys, what we haven't even thought about is, say we have to pay 13.5 million for him. We've just sold Burnley. We're just selling Kyogo. That more than covers that transfer.
Yeah.
But we didn't spend, we were in a net spend in the summer transfer window. So we have still got the money. So to go and spend that 13.5 million, we're still, that's not even touched the transfer money that was there, excluding player sales.
Yeah.
So we can do it.
Well, we can do it, and obviously, guys like Monty are saying 9 million is nothing to Celtic. Was it? It was Maestro 95 saying stop being tight, don't be taken for a mug. I don't think it's directed necessarily us. I think it's folk in the chat, and I don't think any of us are really saying that. But you don't want to be spending 9-10 million and players didn't work out, just paying the money because we've got it. Because if you continue to do that, the board will kind of go back into their shell and go, well.
But Franny, we have all said for years and years, even before podcasts came to life, that I can't. It doesn't matter if you spend 1 million or 100 million. It doesn't guarantee you anything because every player could flop. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just I admit the more money you spend, the less likely that player is of flopping. It's just one of the things. But we'll kind of just go back to the game and into the second half, Jed, of the football. I thought we kind of started bright enough in the second half on Wednesday night, but we kind of, I wouldn't say we fizzled out, but it just, the game, things weren't then coming off. It was sort of looking a wee bit desperate. Some of the passing are forced anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that started to sort of go into the fans with the nervousness and the sort of the moans and groans, if you like. There was still a lot of chanting and stuff, but there was a lot more. I noticed a lot more moans and groans as well. And as I say, I think that was just the magnitude of the game on that day. And it was, I think we all, probably a majority of Celtic fans, thought we were going to roll this team over, which we probably would have done if one of the Kyogo goals stood. I know we all said that they shouldn't, so it's just meaning if we did score an early goal, we probably would have just turned them over. It was just one of the ones that just dragged on, and then what was I going to say? Then obviously Ida comes on. I was a wee bit like, well, Kyogo was still making good runs and getting into good positions. Maybe we could have taken, I thought Maeda had a really good game, but you could have maybe taken him off and put Ida on and let Kyogo just kind of float about and play where he found himself. Or that could have been the way to go, but ultimately he kept the shape of the team. Brung Ida on, Hatate, but just a wee turn, the wee sort of the way he takes it and just rolls the ball. We know he's got that in his locker, Jed. The pass is absolutely ridiculous.
With
his weak foot. Absolutely. At that time of the game, now he could have continued to run a wee bit and tried to find an easier pass, but he played the pass quick, which broke the lines. Ida's run was brilliant, but if Hatate doesn't play that pass that early, Ida's run's useless at the end of the day, and Ida probably finds himself out wide where we don't need him in the last 5 minutes of the game. And by all accounts, the big man holds off his defender well, gets the shot off, which all bar a good save, but the keeper would have went in and he'd have had his moment. But we get the luck that our performance, certainly in the first half, deserved when it comes off the defender and goes in. And by God, did Ida enjoy it? I mean, I don't know if he's trying to claim it, what he's trying to do, if just relief, but I don't care if that gives that guy the kick that he needs, the confidence that he needs to now kick on, especially with Kyogo out, where no matter who we bring in, I think he does got to play the first few games anyway. That's got to do him the power of good, because once again, he's had a big moment for Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, it was like you said, Franny, I thought we started well in the second half of the game. We went up, but rightly said, there's a couple of wayward passes, especially from Kuhn and Johnson go down the right-hand side. And yes, I wouldn't say the fans were getting on their back, they were getting nervous. They were definitely, and then, like you said as well, the 75th minute, whenever it was, round about then, the fans just seemed to just get their vocal backing up again. You could see it gave the team a lift. And yeah, what a pass. You know, every time you see it, it was a great pass. And yes, we did get lucky with it. But see, at the end of the day, stats will show it was a 1-0 win. It won't say it was an own goal. It won't say it was a world-class goal, Huff outside the box. It will just say Celtic 1, Young Boys of Bern 0. And that is all that matters.
Nah, totally, that is all that matters. And I think, obviously, seen that in the fans, there was nobody I was talking to that saying, moan that was an OG, not even moan it's an OG, but nobody really said that. They all said, Gav, the result matters. And obviously, we're all, certainly where I was in that ideas box where I was sitting, we all started checking the table and stuff to see how we sat and if it kind of got us through. And it would say, what a moment for Ida. He's a guy for big moments, to be fair to the guy. I know he's went, well, that'll be 13 games, I think it is, without a goal, even though his celebration would look like he was trying to claim it rather than somehow trying to claim it all night. But as I say, if that's belief, whatever that is, just to give that boy a kick, I'm totally on board with it. if he wants to try and subconsciously claim it to gain self-confidence, by all amounts, he can have it, but he seems to be the guy for the big moments anyway.
Well, he's certainly the guy who picks his moments.
Aye.
That's how I would say it.
Way of putting it.
Look, full credit to Adam Ida. He was instrumental in that goal. Even going back to Hatate, who makes the sublime pass, people were watching the game and thinking Hatate looks dead in his feet. There was a moment where we were trying to kind of pass it out. It went to the left back threaded it through to Hatate. This was earlier on in the second half, and Hatate, whether he was kind of caught off balance, but he fell flat on his face whenever he tried to kind of run for the ball, and people were moaning, and it just looked like this guy he's running on empty. Get him off, bring on someone else who's got energy, and let's go again. But Rodgers had the bravery to keep Hatate on, and that's why he gets paid the big bucks. Because Hatate, even though he's tired physically, tired mentally, if he sets himself and he sees the run, he can thread it through, and he did it on that occasion. Hatate, he never put in the same display as what he did against maybe Red Bull Leipzig at Parkhead, where that was probably his most eye-catching game of the season. Mm-hmm. We were hoping he would replicate that. Wasn't quite the way it was, but that particular moment, Hatate came to the fore and made that brilliant pass. Ida, people are saying that the goal doesn't get scored if Ida doesn't make that run. Without sounding like Roy Keane, and I know that I'm wearing this Man U top, and by the way, I'm wearing the Man U top because of last night, and if I can't wear this, I've never worn this top before, so I'm wearing it last night. However, without sounding like Roy Keane, Adam Ida making that run, that's his job. That is his job. Now, he makes the run, he gets in ahead of the striker, hits it off the keeper, and then it falls out. The defender obviously hits off the defender and it goes in. And you're kind of thinking poetic justice, because you remember the Bruges game and Cameron Carter-Vickers passing it into our own net. And you're thinking, fuck, that never really happens with Celtic. We never do that. And you're thinking, I just wish in this European campaign that maybe another team has a similar bit of misfortune and it goes in our favour. And that happened to go in our favour. It's worth pointing out that Kuhn was kind of running behind. So if that
may have
never made contact, Kuhn might have been there to sort it away. Maybe not. But anyway, as Jed rightly says, the history books will remember it as 1-0 Celtic. And I know that they were the whipping boys of the Champions League, and we came so close to slipping up against them. But we done it. So I couldn't really care less. Let Jed was saying earlier on, like, you don't care if it's a scrappy 1-0 game, as long as we win, as long as we get the 3 points, that's what we've done. Ida runs off like he's the champion of the world, and fair play to him. If that's the bit of confidence that propels him to be the striker that we need him to be for the rest of the season, then I will gladly applaud him and not criticise him for celebrating. Mm-hmm. But it was a team effort for that goal. And I'm just so happy, man. So relieved. They left it till the very end, man. Fuck, man. It was
Calvin, can I ask you a question? So after listening to there, I take it you'll be setting up a Adam Ida supporters club.
No, I don't really do. I don't do fan clubs, mate. Certainly not.
You're reminding me along the same lines of Stephen with Moy, with you with Ida. Listen, he has. I think you had it's the nail on the head when you said he's picked his moments, and he has had some very big moments for the club. The cup final goal, the goal it set us off to win the league at Kilmarnock, the goal at Ibrox, he has scored some big goals. Every one of us are hoping, as both of you have said, that's going to give him that wee boost to go, because we all want him to succeed. Yeah. We all want him to be the best he can be, because we will get the benefit of that.
100%. It goes for any player that you would never wish any player not to be successful, I guess, because ultimately it's not got. You'd want him to be good, because if he's good, then it's going to benefit Celtic at the end of the day. Sorry, I've got to say that.
Even better is to be proved wrong. See, whenever you've kind of lost faith in a player and he proves you wrong, that's, you're like, brilliant.
Great.
You wish more players would do the same as well. Now, I'm not saying that I've written him off. I'm just saying that we've saw the best of him from last season and the worst of him so far this season. And this is the one big moment he's delivered so far this season. Yeah, I know that he never actually scored the goal, but he was part of it. And as I said, if that's what that particular moment that galvanizes him to kind of, just turn in good performances, then I really hope it is.
Nah, totally. Let's say if that's what the big man wants, then fair enough. But it deserved it for me. I just thought it's just willing him on to be successful because, like I say, it's quite a bit benefit Celtic. So we managed to.
Sorry, but it was just what Gavin said about how Rodgers kept Hatate on. Has any seen the footage of Rodgers with him after the game with Hatate?
There is footage. Obviously, I don't know the footage after it.
If you get the chance, Gavin, have a look at it, and you can see he's trying to say, like, I knew you could do it, and he's giving her, embracing them and everything like that. And Hatate, you see, he was really accepting what he was saying because his English is good. Hatate, out of the three of the Japanese players, his English is probably the best. But if you get a chance, watch it and you'll see why. You could see Rodgers had all the faith in him, and he's actually saying that to him. I knew you would do it. I knew you would do it.
I thought it was good because even for the team as well, you've seen it when that sort of for the fans started getting back up for it, but sort of found their second wind and things like that, and obviously maybe felt within themselves they knew they had to spur the team on a wee bit. I think the passing for the team got better in the sort of the last 10-15 minutes. They were playing the wee triangles, and it didn't feel as forced anymore. It was almost setting traps and very deliberate, some of the passages you play. But I say we managed to hold out, Jed, albeit Kasper Schmeichel pulls off a couple of good saves near the end. Again,
good saves.
Well,
amazing saves.
I think this is where I'm going to turn into Gabriel Adamida. See, when you see the replays of him, I'm sitting going, it's his
job.
I just think they were, for me, like, I don't want to take anything away from the guy because there were good saves that I don't know if they're maybe getting made to be better saves because the time they were at. I think if any of them went in, you'd be really disappointed with your keeper, I think, but take nothing away from the guy. He had to make the saves at the end of the day.
But you're taking away from him.
I know, without taking it away from it, but totally taking everything away from the guy. No, it was two big saves. We managed to see it out. And then, as it turns out, we've progressed in the competition, which would have been the goal, especially when you see the draw. A lot of folk have said it's been a kind draw. Some folk have said that it's not. Personally, I'm on the side of it being a kind draw, although we did obviously play at Atlanta and Borussia Dortmund, the Champions League runners-up and Europa League winners away from home. But I think when you look at the home games, we were fairly kind with the home games that we got, and it kind of continues that form that we started when we beat Feyenoord last season, just to try and to make Celtic Park a fortress again in Europe and in this competition.
But Franny, see as well, you're saying about that, right? People see the people are saying, "Oh, we were fortunate to get Bratislava, to get Young Boys." What about the other teams that got them? Were they fortunate?
I know.
You can only play who you're drawn against. You have to beat them. They're there on merit.
Yeah,
they qualified for that Champions League. So people that are saying that are jealous because they are there.
Ah, totally. We've made the most of the new. I think some of the bigger teams have struggled with this new format, thinking they've got 8 games that'll be easy. They'll just turn up when they want. You look
every team that was in that
City.
Champions League, the 32 teams, every one of them deserve to be there, and they're there for a reason, because they're either champions or their league, the smaller nations, and they've went through the qualification to do it, so they are there in merit. No, so anybody else says so, stuff them. They're jealous. That's it.
Don't disagree. Like, I've seen folks saying Leipzig are a poor team because they're sitting on 0 points, but you look at, I think Leipzig have had Atletico Madrid and things like that. They've had some big teams, and nobody's got to tell me RB Leipzig are a poor team. I think their strikers getting linked like £60 million moves and things like that. So you didn't have £60 million players if you're poor. Sorry, Gavin, you go.
I just think with the draw, I'm loving the new format because of how the draws worked out for Celtic, and I'm not disagreeing at all with any of you guys. I'm just saying that next year, if we get into the Champions League and we get the opposite draw, of what we've received this season, we could be hating the new format of the Champions League. Will bring it back to the old format because that's more reflective of your standard. But I think it's been very, very complimentary, and we've just managed to qualify. So, and the kind of the old adage, you can only play who's in front of you. We've done that, and we've just managed to qualify. But very, very equally, on the flip side, it could have been a tough draw like Young Boys got, and you look terrible. Yeah, but don't get me wrong, they're not the best team. They're not the best team, but they had a draw, and people at Leipzig as well, they've had a very, very unfortunate draw. So I think it might take a wee bit of time, a few more campaigns for people really to make their mind up whether they like this new format or not. But it is what it is. We can't change that. We can only play who we've got.
But Gavin, also as well, if you look over the years, yes, we have had some, whatever you want to call it, great draws because of the names who we've played against, but horrendous draw because they are so far ahead of us. But this is what, as a fan base, this is what we want to see. We want us to be able to play the likes of Real Madrid, the German teams, Man City, Liverpool. That's what you want to do. You want to be up there with these guys. And we're all, when you get into that draw, it is a luck. It's luck who you're going to get. Yes, we probably have been fortunate this year, but we have still, if you look at the teams in the last 6 Champions League matches at Celtic Park, we've not been beaten. And we played some really good teams in that as well. Atletico Madrid, Leipzig, just they two spring to mind straight away. And we've held our heads high. We have improved since Rodgers last season. He improved on the season before with Ange, the points total. We've now improved again. That's all the fans were looking for, progression. And like you say, it maybe take another couple of years, but we need to, and the comments are saying this is why we need to spend money. We need to be ready because we need to do a qualifying next season. So let's get us in this position where teams are like that. Oh God, I don't want to play them. Oh, that's going to be a nightmare. If we can get Parkhead a fortress again, no team's going to want to come and play us. And that's all as fans, or me personally, that's what I want. I want, as a club, we know we're not the greatest in Europe. We would all like to think we are. But we want to know when teams come to Celtic Park, they're going to be in for a tough game. We're going to go out and show we're actually not a bad team. And they put one up for Scottish football. Because let's be honest, they get slagged, especially if they're down south. So long may it continue. I hope we're in this position next year. I want us to be in this position to be drawn some huge teams, because I don't want to be in the Europa League looking up and saying, oh, I wish that was us. Because let's be honest, we're all wishing we could be playing Bayern Munich, Real Madrid every year.
And like I say, we have started making steps to making Parkhead a fortress again. That's a full campaign this season anyway. We've not lost a home game. Was it 3 wins in a draw, I think, in
this season.
This season, which is absolutely fantastic. And obviously you've got the Feyenoord game and stuff last season, but now we're obviously moving into the playoff rounds, Gavin. I'm not going to ask you to pretend to or try and work out who we could be playing, because I think as it stands, there's about 10 teams we could play. But I think if the table finished tomorrow, if the table is now, I think it's either Bayern Munich or Real Madrid we would play. So Jed would get his wish then. But obviously, depending how a lot of things work out next week, we could even get teams like Brest and that, who it might just be. Personally, I want a fixture where you're looking at it going, that's the game that we've got a real possibility of progressing, getting that getting that knockout win, because there was a lot of sort of a stigma's probably too strong a word, that away performances and stuff like that. That, I mean, you look at Atalanta, we put a lot of things to bed there. Even the Zagreb game was probably one that got away for us.
Pitch was shocking as well for in that game.
But I don't think Zagreb really. Zagreb weren't great on the night, and neither were we. I didn't stick or twist that night, but it'd just be good to get a tie that maybe you can look at and go, we've got a real chance of now getting that monkey off the back of not winning a knockout game in such a long time. But equally, if we go down to Villa Park and win, Gav, there's a chance. I mean, I've not looked at what we'd need to happen. We would need a lot to go our way to finish in the top 8, but mathematically, we can still get there. I highly doubt it's going to happen, because I think there'll be teams above us. Certain results would probably, even if we do win, probably get in there before us. But I think obviously the task at the start, the goal at the start of the campaign would have been make the playoffs. We have done that. We're just in the lap of the gods of how the table finishes. But fingers crossed it's kind, and maybe we can win that knockout tie.
Yeah, the thing with the Villa game, like, I would have preferred to go in there with like a full strength squad, and it looks like that we're going to be going in there without Maida and without Kyogo. That's two massive losses. So I think for a game that was already shaping up to be very tough, it's now going to be even tougher. So, you know, we have to put our faith in Brendan Rodgers to set up the team in a way that we'll be as confident, and it's difficult to beat, but at the same time, you know, effective of maybe nicking a wee goal. It could be. I think maybe the game with Celtic and Villa won't be as close as the Man U and Sefco game last night, where it was two teams struggling. I think Aston Villa have been, on the whole, very impressive in Europe, and I think they'll definitely fancy their chances. So it'll be a tough game. It really will be. Maybe that Battle of Britain kind of scenario might galvanise us. But as I said, without Kyogo, without Maida, it's going to be really tough. I take it that I'm correct in saying that if we brought in Kvistgaard like tomorrow, he won't be allowed to play.
No. Oh, he'd be able to play in the playoff games, but not this game.
Okay. So yeah, who knows how it's going to go? So either all hopes are resting on Ida. I don't even know if Johnny Kenny is part of the squad.
Sure.
He's not.
Probably not, because we only brought him back like a few weeks ago.
So you're right.
Yeah, so and that's the worry if anything happens. If the game goes ahead tomorrow, and if Ida gets injured.
Aye. And then the only thing you're just saying is, well, we've qualified anyway. But I guess the fear is that the scoreline, like, a draw would be brilliant, a win would be miraculous, but a defeat would be bad, and then a heavy defeat would be even worse, because I think we're on like 0 goals or maybe +1, something like that.
I guess +1 or something.
If the final, if the knockouts are decided upon goal difference as well, then that might work against us even further. So I just don't know the permutations of it, but we just need to do ourselves as much justice as we can and not ship goals. Hopefully, a draw would be amazing. But Villa have got a lot to play for, because Monaco, I think, are ahead of them, and they want to finish in the top 8. In terms of the qualification, the next round, who knows? Who knows what we'll get? I'm not even going to take a stab at the team that we might get, but
10 teams right now you could get.
Yeah, but we faced some quality teams back whenever we have been in this position. We've faced Juventus, Barcelona, AC Milan. I think that's the 3 teams, is it? AC Milan, Barcelona, and Juventus. The 3 times that we have qualified for the next phase. So you're up against it. You're almost in that kind of realm of David and Goliath. But we'll take it as it is. But we've made that milestone, so I'm happy for how we've achieved. And Jed, going back to what you were saying earlier about how performed in this campaign. You're totally right. It's a night to be positive, for Celtic fans, and we've done extremely well. And the other thing that you point out was the kind of Fortress Parkhead factor. We're bringing it back. We're slowly bringing it back. We have beat some quality teams. And even against Bruges, where we just come up against a team who we might have underestimated, and it could easily have been a defeat that night, we maybe have shown steps of progress where we turned a defeat into a draw. And it's kind of small margins like that, which is strengthening the record and the confidence of the team. And it's these barometers that Brendan is judged upon. So, Jed, you're totally right in that.
Gavin, I'm glad what you've said there about like Bruges and Young Boys, because I think there was an expectation where we're going to win here.
Mm-hmm.
And that can come back and bite us. Where if we're up against the Juventus in this world, Real Madrid's, the fans seem to back them a wee bit more because they know we're up against it here. They're not going in saying we're definitely going to win here. When we go to the game, I think this is going to be so tough. We could be getting a doing here. But we go in and we're supporting, and I actually like when we're playing against teams we don't expect to beat, because the fans get up for it and they're not on the players' back as much as what they were against Club Brugge and that, because they went in thinking, well, this is an easy 3 points, and they were a decent team. So,
no, totally. And there you go. There's San Fran saying it. They're on 11 points, which I think is 2 points less than us. And I think you're right what you're saying as well, Gavin. I agree with Thomas Burns. It's whatever happens, it's been progress in Europe. And there's many ways to look at that progress. Like you say, the Young Boys game, that type of performance, and then we've seen that type of performance in Europe plenty of times for Celtic, but then seeing us concede the type of goal that we scored that late and kill us.
Mm-hmm.
The Club Brugge game, again, maybe like you say, maybe underestimated the team. We sometimes came up against that, especially at Parkhead, and then conceded the goal, and it's maybe ended up 2 or 3-0. But we turned that round to a draw, and there's wee positive in that if you look at it going, well, in the past games like that, we kind of just went into a shell, and it was 2-3. It was a horrible night. Even go back to the first game against Bratislava. Yes, similar to Young Boys, probably back the whipping boys of the competition. We went in there heavily favourites, and what we've done is we dealt with that team as we should have done, in the sense that we were expected to beat them convincingly, and we duly did. I agree we were probably similar on the Wednesday. We didn't beat them convincingly, certainly by scoreline, but performance-wise, we did. But we managed to cling on, keep concentrated, keep believing that we're going to get that goal. So I think there's many ways, like we say, Jed, if we don't qualify out the playoff, obviously we're in the playoffs, but if we don't get through the playoff round, we have progressed in Europe for many reasons.
Yeah, and as Gavin's, that's certainly, we are going down to Villa weaker. We're losing Maeda and Kyogo. Let's not kid ourselves. And that's the worry. Who have we got to replace them? But we've got to go down and put up a show. Let's be honest, and this is only my opinion. Atalanta are a better team than Aston Villa. It's my opinion, okay? They're a better pedigree of a team than Aston Villa. We went there after getting an absolute doing in Germany, and we went over to Atalanta. Yeah, and we carried the luck at times, but every game you get a bit of luck. Whether they miss a set or you saves, etc. But let's be honest, if next week, if we get a point, we'll all be over the moon.
No,
you will just want to go down and hold your own. And again, I think it'd be interesting as well if we score first. Their fans will not like it because they'll be expecting to roll over us. So if we can go down, put in a solid performance, get the first goal, and let's see what happens.
No, but that's it. It's go down. I don't want to go down there and get turned over and end the campaign on a wee bit of a downer.
Correct.
Yes, we might get beat, but as long as it's not a silly defeat, but I don't envision anything like that. But at this level, anything can happen. Just a moment's lapse, you just don't know. I mean, you just look at that Dortmund game. Everything they done worked, and everything we done didn't work. So it was just a recipe for disaster. So hopefully we didn't have a similar night to that. But I don't see that. I think we've picked up a form, and I think Rodgers has got better in this competition as it's went on. Certainly away from home, when I think he knows how to get through these games a wee bit better. But
it's been a learning curve for him.
I think it is. Maybe in hindsight, the Dortmund game was hiding was good for Rodgers in the sense that I suppose we've got to credit him for going toe to toe. We were in a great position at the time. I think we all said, let's have a go, and we did, and Chile got absolutely scalped 7-1. And we were then talking about Rodgers in Europe, how this is not the first time that this type of result, but he then goes to Atalanta and turns on a defensive masterclass. We had our chances, but defensively we were solid. Sorry, Gav, what were you got to say there?
Can I ask both of you guys? So, we're nearing the conclusion of the normal kind of first phase of the new Champions League format. One more game to go, which will be admittedly a tough game. So that's 1 loss, 3 victories, 3 draws, which has been superb. For both of you, who would you say has been the biggest contributor to this particular European campaign? And don't forget Schmeichel, obviously he's one, but you've got goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, striker, a lot of people who've contributed.
It's a good question, Gav.
That is trusting skills. Have had a couple of good games. Like trusting skills were good in the early stages.
Yeah, especially at Atalanta.
Aye, they two were brilliant in Atalanta. And it's maybe just because they always get the glory, but I'm going to go with Kuhn. I think he's been good for us in this competition. But equally, I would not, if somebody chucked in skills or trusty, I'd no argue against that.
I personally can't single anyone out because in the games there's been a collective that has got us over the line and been over the line to qualify. Gavin, you've stumped me, mate, because that's like
the top of that question. Like that's a top of that question.
I don't know. I can't name just one person because there've been certain times in certain games where players have went, wow, brilliant. Like Callum McGregor the other night, he was nutmegging everyone. He was outstanding in the first half, and I've been very critical of him lately, but he was phenomenal. Trusty as well. I know he was. We spoke about it after the Dundee game. Trusty had a terrible game, but I said on Monday night as well, you got to mind, he's had a lot of bloody good games. He's had one really bad game. So he's been good for us as well. But to name one person, I can't.
What about for yourself then, Gav?
I think I would personally go for Kasper Schmeichel. I think he pulled off obviously a few saves in the game on Wednesday. I think he pulled off a few good saves against Leipzig as well, which is kind of easy to forget. Sometimes it's easier to remember the attackers. Somebody said Cameron Carter-Vickers, and we almost take him for granted of just being that immovable object. And I even had the fear for Cameron Carter-Vickers, see, in the first 5 minutes of the game on Wednesday night when they had that big number 35 who was playing up against them. A couple of times the keeper played the goal kicks and it was like going right on his head, and he was taller than Cameron Carter-Vickers. I felt he had a little bit more pace than Cameron Carter-Vickers, but by God, did Cameron Carter-Vickers give his all. And I said to the guy next to me, because the number 35 had the first few times that they tried it, he had the best of it. He managed to kind of get a bit of luck, managed to bring it down, managed to kind of earn some yards down the pitch without sounding like an NFL fan. But I said to the guy next to me, they're going to keep doing that all night because they know it works. But for one reason or another, whether it's just bad coaching or whether Cameron Carter-Vickers managed to get the better of him and dissuaded them from trying again and again. I was just so proud of how Cameron Carter-Vickers stood up to that challenge because he normally doesn't come up against people who are stronger than him. But anyway, for the question that I posed to you guys, I would go for Kasper Schmeichel. Yeah. The way that he plays out from the back, that he starts attacks out like that he doesn't obviously have to go to a fullback or a centre back. Sometimes he can actually hit the ball to us mid whenever he sees the space. It just opens up this new prong of attack for us, and the fact that he's been making saves. Look, that what happened to him in Dortmund could happen to Joe Hart or to any.
He had quite a few good saves that night too.
He did. Like, you know, like, you would want to say he kept it respectable, but like I think Willie in our group chat was saying like Celtic should refund the cost of the tickets back to the fans because of it. But I think for me, he was a difference maker in the Leipzig game, despite the fact that Kuhn got the plaudits, and I think that he's so used to as a Celtic goalkeeper, just not being called upon, but just at that moment where he needs to stand up, he's warm and he's ready. Probably warm because he's been about 3 different like goalkeeper tops or something like that. He looks quite meaty wearing that. But for me, Schmeichel would get it.
And I think it's a fair shout. It's true what you say about him playing out for the back. I think that gives the defence confidence as well on the ball, and they've got a lot more confidence to pass it back to him. You see that, and that's no slanting Joe Hart. I think the defence got a wee bit shaky when they were playing it back to Joe Hart and things like that. But we'll move it on to incomings, and we'll not really delve too much into Kieran Tierney because he's been imminent for about 4 weeks. I just think somebody needs to give him a pen at this stage. I can only understand. It's the only thing I can think that's missing for what's happened is somebody's forgot to give him a pen. But you hear all sort of rumours that he's agreed a pre-contract. It's just to see if we can get him in before the end of the window. Obviously, there's chat. I think if he comes in, then we'll sanction the Valle move to Como. But one that got kind of officially announced yesterday by Fabrizio Romano, the man in the know, must get paid off of every club in the world. He knows about every transfer gone. And obviously Rogers himself admitted it today that he expects the deal to go through in the next over the weekend. I think if it wasn't for the bad weather, it would have been he'd have flew in today and got it done. But the reason I'm wearing this top, Gavin, Felipe Jota is returning. Now, folk coming back sometimes can work, sometimes doesn't work. It's obviously working for Rodgers now. I'm trying to think of the topic. McGrew kind of worked for him coming back, but he was sort of a lone player when he went away. It's just
Maloney.
Maloney came back, and it's, I think on the top of my head, the folk that have generally came back have.
Rodgers just came back.
Aye, Rodgers is probably the one that's head and shoulders above everybody that's potentially done better second time round. Fingers crossed that's the same for Jota. He's certainly got all the ability, Gav, but I don't think anybody complained going away to Saudi. It was probably the money that was reported to going to get. I think it was just shy $200,000 after I get everybody's dollar that money down. Didn't work for him for many reasons over there. He's maybe not totally looked into it, and it turns out that you couldn't be, or they had to register so many Saudi-based players. Well, aye, second time round they've not been seen. I was going to say, and then he obviously went to Rennes, instantly went to Rennes, and it's not really worked out for him there. He's now coming back to us. We're paying a reported 10 million, well, I think it's 10 million euros plus a 10% sell on. Are you excited about Jota coming back?
I've had the chance to think about it, and I reckon I am a little bit excited about Jota coming back. I'm going to start off with the negatives. I have not seen him kick a ball in 1.5 years since he left Celtic. I know there's mitigating circumstances. Saudi Arabia never worked out for him. That they've got a kind of a quota for how many foreign players they can play. and it never worked out for him. They sold him to Rennes, and it's not worked out for him at Rennes. I think he's had an injury at Rennes. So there's a rationale to explain why it's not worked out. At the same time, though, I am worried because he went away for millions and millions of cash, and sometimes I wonder how that affects a sportsman's head whenever because you start out in football and in sport for the love of the game normally, and the money is an afterthought. It's a benefit. But you're always striving to be the best. And I'm going to come to the positives, okay? But, so just bear with me. But sometimes I'm a wee bit fear of once you get those riches so soon in your career, how that affects you mentally. Do you subconsciously drop your levels? Do you still have that hunger? Do you still have the eye of the tiger to be the best that you can be? Despite your own limitations. And Jota, for all he's brilliant at certain things, he still has certain limitations. So he's coming back right now, but then I remember how good he was for Celtic. You know, he was effective against Rangers. He was our own kind of talisman on the wing. He was charismatic. He was, for the most part, a very, very good player. So I'm reminded of that. I'm reminded of how good he was, and I am excited. One of the limitations that I do speak of is his lack of pace. For a winger, he has to rely on his trickery. Now, he's not the only person who's done that. I always use the example of John Robertson in Nottingham Forest, one of Brian Clough's favourite players, who they just gave the ball to, and he would do the damage, even though he had no pace. But he had great feet, he had a great delivery. He just always managed to get the better of his fullback. Jota, I'm not going to compare him to John Robertson, but he certainly doesn't have that much pace. But he still managed to make a massive, massive impact for Celtic domestically. So it looks pretty much like a swap deal. I don't know why they're not announcing it as a swap deal between Kyogo and him, because it's rumoured to be the same amount of money.
The only logic I can put on is PSR things, because
I know.
For PSR, so if you're swapping, money's not necessarily transferred, but if you're, so I think they bought him for about 6 or 8 million euros. So then they're then selling him for 10 million euros. It's a 4 million. It's a profit on him essentially. So that helps their PSR. And at Celtic, we bought Kyogo for 4.5, sold him for 10. It helps their PSR stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only logic I can put on it, Gav. Because like you say, both fees are reported to be the exact same. So why is it not just a straight swap?
Yeah,
I think it's
illegal
now.
thing.
I think it's just a technical. It's technically a swap, but for PSR, I think
it's working the system.
I think swap deals. It's working the system, Jedi. Exactly, working the system.
But look, the overwhelming thought here is that Jota had a brilliant time at Celtic, and we were gutted. We were so gutted whenever he left. The fact that it was 25 million, that really cushioned the blow, but we never saw it coming. So if I remember back to how good Jota was, then it alleviates any fears that I've got. And I guess one other thing is the fact that we don't seem to have a player who's got that type of X factor, the guy who's got a bit of trickery, who can do something that we don't expect. I remember even watching it in the YouTube videos of Jota at Benfica before he signed for Celtic. I remember that this guy's got something that looked kind of like Paddy Roberts, but a little bit better than Paddy Roberts. He's got something that will complement our team that we don't really have in our roster right now. And for that reason, yeah, I'm on board. And for the fee, one of my friends pointed out to me yesterday, like, we sold him for 25 million and now we're bringing him back for 8.4 million pounds. Not. I know it's 10 million euros. So it looks like we've loaned them out for 15 million. But then I had to kind of contradict him and say, but we did have to pay that kind of sell-on clause to Benfica for the profit, which totally kind of kills what I just said there. But look, I'm excited about it. He's a fan favourite. He's got something different. He's got trickery, and he does it against the Huns. That's the most important thing. So I'm on board. That took a long time for me to actually give my point of view there. But
that's totally fine. we'll kind of come to your sale as well, Jed. It's like Gav said, if you look at it on paper, we bought him for about 6.5 million, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Then sold him for 25, and we're essentially buying him back for 8.5 million. Yes, like Gavin said, we had that sell-on fee that was maybe close to that, so you're almost getting the guy for nothing if you want to put it like that. But maybe in real terms, if you discount the sort of a sell-on fee, you're actually getting the guy for minus about 15 million, and then you look at the Kieran Tierney deal, you sell him 5 years later, you're getting him back for nothing.
Yeah.
It's no bad, and the Bernabeu, it's no bad business for Lowell and that on paper. But are you excited about Jota coming back?
Yeah, because if just go down the club's route of their buying policy, because of his age, they could sell him in a couple of years and make more money off him as well. What I'm excited about is Jota's coming to a place that he knows, a city that he knows. He's going to settle in really quick. It's not as if and where can I go? What restaurants can I go? He knows exactly where he can go and where he can't go in Glasgow. He's fine. He'll have points to prove. The good thing is he didn't leave the club and the fans with any bad feeling towards him, because as fans we realised it was too much money for us not to accept that. No. So we're not putting the blame on him where he kicked up a stink. And I know Kyogo wanted me, but he's not kicked up a stink. No. So that's it. He'll go with everyone's blessings. I think he'll come back. He'll want to prove a point. And then just to keep the female side of the fans happy, they've got a bit of buy candy back. I'm sure they'll love that. Because let's be honest, the girls are going to love that, isn't they? They've got the good living job.
And like I say, it's an absolute PR goldmine for Celtic, especially if they manage to get Kieran Tierney in this month. Obviously, by all accounts, it looks like he's all but agreed setting a pre-contract. But if you can get him in this month, what a PR goldmine we've got right there.
How good would the PR be if they did the unveiling video in the Brazen Head?
And something like with KT's already in there and he just comes out, or vice versa. It's happening, Jota.
Aye.
It would be absolute. It's just there for them. It's there for it's an open goal for them essentially.
Franny, on that as well, I mentioned, I don't know in the group chat or on here a good number of months ago, that Kieran Tierney had bought a house up here. I heard again during the week, the house he's bought is only a mile away from me.
Right.
So he bought a house a mile away from you?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
If it's true, you'll need to be getting them.
That's what I'm hearing.
Getting them on, Jed.
It is not far. A lot of Celtic fans will maybe, when the cameras go into the main stand, they'll always see a guy there with the dyed black hair and the moustache, looks a Mexican. And then he's John Higgins. He's the guy.
Is that who that is? Is that his name?
Yeah, he owns a civil engineering business. I believe.
Right, I was going to ask you what he does, because it always seems to be the big Celtic games, and you're like, who is this guy?
He's an investor in Celtic as well, and what I'm told is he's not far away from him.
Right, that's interesting. That's
interesting.
So, like I said, seen a few things online about Kieran Tierney saying that he's not back a lot of teams. He only wants to come to Celtic, and some have even said he's already agreed a pre-contract. And there's now discussions with Celtic and Arsenal to try and see if they can get the deal done this month and get him up the road. But just get the two of them in. It'd be ideal if you get the two of them in at the same time, because it's just the unveiling. It'd be absolutely brilliant. And like I think it was Thomas Burns had said there, it's a very good. But we're not getting these guys at the tail end. We're getting them in their prime. Yes, Kieran Tierney comes with his injury concerns, but we are never getting that lively player, essentially, at left back. And as much as what probably us three are not massive Greg Taylor fans, I think we'll appreciate what he does for the team. I think Greg Taylor's been guilty in not being Kieran Tierney. We're getting Kieran Tierney to replace Kieran Tierney, essentially.
But Greg Taylor has played a lot more better games in Celtic than he has bad games.
Oh,
fans need to remember
100%.
that. The guy's going to leave potentially at the end of the season with a very good trophy haul, and he has played a major part in the club getting to the number of trophies. So he has.
No, totally agree. And I can't wait to it's got to be an exciting last 10 days or whatever as this transfer window. I think it's actually goes into the start of February because
3rd of February, is it?
I think it must be because obviously I'm just trying to open up my calendar here because then that would mean it must be because it's a Friday night or something. There must be some mad bank holiday or something. I don't know. It must be something silly why it's not finishing on the Friday.
Well, if it's the Monday night, I expect you ever got on, need to have your yellow ties and all that on.
I know.
If it is that night.
Need to be going Jim White in this bit.
Right,
can you just move on to the potential of tomorrow's game? No 100% sure if it's going to. Obviously, Celtic released a statement earlier on, Gavin.
Yeah.
There's been some damage in the stadium due to the weather the day of the storm that's hit a lot of Scotland today. So obviously be safety concerns. I've not really seen. I don't think the statement actually said what was damaged, so it could be some form of structural damage in the sense that not necessarily what has fell off is that can be made safe, but what could subsequently maybe could happen cause of that and things like that. So they said they're going to obviously check it and inform fans in the morning. I dare say that's due to because the weather's properly meant to die down by then, so they can't really call it. I think the winds have started to be decent enough during the night, so they obviously can't call it the night. But we'll assume as of now the game is going ahead. Well, it's going ahead, and we'll assume it will go ahead. Are you looking forward to Dundee? Maybe a wee score to settle. Obviously, Dundee are they've picked up some good results now.
Yeah.
Obviously, beat Dundee United on Monday, Gavin. They're on a good wee bit of form. But you're looking forward to the game?
That's the kind of thing, like you don't know if it's going to go ahead, and that goes back to your original point. The people who I actually really feel sorry for are the people who are travelling to the game, the people who need to go up at the crack of dawn, people coming from Ireland, people coming from down south. They're waiting for the Celtic officials to make to give the green light, at some point in the morning. It's okay for me. I'm only like an hour's drive from the game. But for the people who need to plan ahead, I really, really feel sorry for them. What are they going to do? Do they just say, "Fuck it, I'll veer on the kind of the decision that it's not going to take place"? That's put them in a very.
I think it might be a low attended game tomorrow if it goes ahead, just simply because I think a lot of folk from Ireland might not come over for that game.
And the fact that
I wouldn't
going to be like.
I think it'll be 10 o'clock an announcement will be made. And that, as both of you have stated, it's not ideal. I've seen tweets for guys are saying, when is it going to, because I've got a flight to catch. And you can only see it when you go, the amount of buses that's coming over and the ferries to the game. It's not fair, guys and girls that's coming over. But let's hope it goes ahead. I mean, part of me is saying, maybe it'd be okay for it to be cancelled, but then it catches up with us later on. It's another midweek game.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get it done. The fans are on a high from the other night.
Yeah.
So let's go and get the game played tomorrow. But Glasgow City Council have a lot to do with this tomorrow as well, won't they? For a safety certificate, because it could be in breach of it. So they'll decide as well.
And obviously the police and ambulance. I know obviously we pay for the policing and obviously the ambulance service to have X amount of staff per game, but if they are kind of maybe needed to plot, I don't know how it totally works, but if they're maybe more needed elsewhere, they might, Police Scotland and things like that might say, well, we really need this staff better used in a football game at the end of the day.
Franny, health, as you know better than anybody in the job that you do, health and safety is of paramount importance. Yeah. And we have to be seen to be following it and making sure, listen, it's only that. Because if anything goes wrong, that's it.
It's just need to worry though, Jed. San Francisco and Dundee makes sense.
Well, what would you do? We'll just bust a pipe and say it's waterlogged and we'll be fine.
Sorry, Gav, you look like you've been itching to say something there.
No, not particularly, but the only thing is that Jed said that the fans will still be on a high, but the players, they're going to. It was only Wednesday night that they were playing in that monumental game.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a feeling, like somebody said in the comments at the start of this episode, that it might be a good thing if the game is postponed. And Jed, I take on board what you're saying. That a midweek game, we don't want that. Thing is whenever it gets rescheduled, will we still have European football at that point? The League Cup took away, so we've only got right now as league games and the Scottish Cup games. Would it be terrible if we had one delayed fixture? I don't know, but I do have a kind of niggling fear that the players will still be drained from Wednesday night's exertions. I know it was only at Parkhead. We weren't abroad, but that took a lot out of a lot of people. Now the fact that we don't have Kyogo, we've got Ida, who is going to have to. He's probably going to be galvanised, and we can rotate the midfield. Tati can come out, because he was running on empty. You've got Engels, he might be tired as well, but we've got Kyogo. We've got McCowan, we've got Bernardo. Who knows? But for the game, if it goes ahead, I'll be buzzing for it. I'll be really buzzing, because when I left the ground, I was in such a high, and I want to get back to just give the team my appreciation of what I've delivered so far this season with continued European involvement. I'm so happy, so proud of the achievement. It's just the players, what have they got in the tank?
Gavin, I can't disagree. Like I said, I've thought about it, would it be a bad thing? And it wouldn't be a bad thing if it's cancelled, because when it's rearranged, we'll have the new players in as well. But as I put in the chat earlier, thank you, poor me. I'm still telling the wife it's on. I'm gone.
Better hope she's not listening, Jed.
Look,
but
I'm
no,
sure
I can't understand. I think weirdly, I think both are right, and Stephen's going to absolutely kill me if he watches us back and call me James McFadden again, because I understand the argument for playing the game tomorrow and continuing that momentum to go into the midweek, but also understand the argument for it might not be a bad thing called off.
No
tomorrow.
Injuries then.
No injuries. You can maybe give them an extra day's recovery, get training, and even though if we manage to get a couple of new guys in before that, I know they then can't play, but it might it'll also give the fans a lift. That might resonate onto the players themselves, just a wee lift in the team. You just don't know. There's all these permutations, but I'll just come to yourself, Jed. The game's going ahead tomorrow. Pick your lineup. Give me your lineup tomorrow.
I think there'll be a few changes, so I'm actually going to go for Schmeichel, Johnston, Scales, Trusty, Valley, Bernardo, McGowan, Engels, Maeda, Kuhn, and Ida.
So Calmac is dropped.
Calmac's dropped. Resting him.
Well, before I come to Gavin, I'd probably go with that back four, and I think that's where it might be, just resting them. I would play Engels, but I don't. He obviously came off injured midweek, so I don't know if he'll maybe carry that and maybe try and keep him. So
I forgot about that, Franny. You're right.
I think my midfield three would be. I think McGregor will play, but I would play McCowan and Bernardo. They two anyway, with probably McGregor, simply just because I think Engels may be injured. And I just don't know if Hatate would work with the two. And I would obviously be keeping Hatate for the midweek game against Villa. Striker, it's obviously got to be Ida. It has to play Kuhn. It's on the left where I'm like, I know Maeda can't play, so the sensible ones maybe saying, well, you don't necessarily need to worry about him getting injured or burnt out, if you like. But do you then play Jan because he's more likely to play on the
Wednesday? If he gets injured?
I know. I'm trying to look at it, getting a team that might, or players that might play on Wednesday, but I probably would edge towards Maeda. You don't want, certainly if I'm making a few changes at the back of the midfield, you don't want to make too many changes all over the park. So I'll probably stick with my Maeda, Ida and Kuhn would be your strongest three up front. What about yourself, Gav?
Schmeichel, Johnson. Now, Greg Taylor left back, because he came off, Vi came on. So the normal fullbacks, goalkeeper, but it depends on who's the most tired out of the centre backs. I think Scales should come in, but who's most tired out of Trusty and Cameron Carter-Vickers, or is Brendan Rodgers going to pull a master stroke for Trusty and say that guy bullied you? He took two of them took the piss out of you. Two of them took the piss out of you last time. You're playing in a bigger park. This is our home ground. Why don't you show them why we spent that money on you? And by the way, he has responded very, very well since that last game, because we've played 2 games. We played Kilmarnock and obviously the young boys. But does Brendan Rodgers need to say that to Trusty, or does he just judge it on who's the most tired, fatigued out of Cameron Carter-Vickers and Trusty? So that would settle that conversation would settle whoever plays alongside Scales, because I would bring in Scales. But on top of that, I think we do need McGregor, yeah. And I'm going to play McCowan and Bernardo, yeah. And then, of course, McCowan is playing against his old team. Up front, I'm going to play Maida, Adam Maida. Now, Kuhn had been out for a few games, I think, but he's obviously came back in. So we need to win this game. So maybe it's Maida and Kuhn. And Adam Maida up front, and then Yang can play in the following game against Villa. But I don't want to rest too many people. I'm making changes in the midfield. Engels is dropping out. Hatate is dropping out. Apart from that, it's going to be a full. Obviously, Kyogo is dropping out. Apart from that, I'm going to keep the delivery strong on the wings, Maida and Kuhn. So that's where I'm at.
And score, Gavin.
Mate, I'm fucking terrible at scores. That's why I don't bet. I don't know. 3-0, man. Let's go for that.
I think as well, Maida will be wanting to. Did you see his tweet apologising for saying letting us down and things like that? So I think he'll go out trying to really prove a point, and I fancy him to score. I'm going to go 3-0.
Jed, can I ask you? See, with the Maida sending off, obviously it wasn't like a full-blooded kick, but it was still a kick, and I'm not going to argue with his sending off. But do you think that if the referee gave sufficient protection to Maida when he deserved it, then he wouldn't have resorted to that?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest criticism of the referee the other night was, if you look in the first half, he booked Kuhn, and then he let 3 young boy players, the same sort of tackle, they never get booked. You know, he was a bit inconsistent there. But as soon as he went to the screen, you knew he was getting sent off. And that boy was niggling away. He was foul first, didn't he? Did he lash out? Did he really take a kick at him? So the guy...
I think it's silly for Maida. I don't think
it is. Of course it's silly, but the boy played it as well. The boys played on it, and it was silly, but it wasn't a leg breaker. Let's not kid ourselves. The boys probably knew he got a bruise.
Yeah, I think Maida was fouled before he kicked the guy.
Yeah, he was.
The referee could have called it when the action happened. Maida wouldn't have resorted to that. However, I think Maida was just kind of mentally tired at that point, and that's why he allowed himself to get drawn down to that level. By the way, did any of you notice the referee doing like these no-look yellow cards? So there was an infraction. The big number 35 guy, I think he hurt Alistair Johnson maybe at one point. It could have been in the first half. The referee never saw it at all, but the fourth official came over and had a weird word, and then the referee put out a yellow. And then later on in the game, it might have still been in the first half, maybe in the second half, a similar thing happened with another 2 sets of players, and he gave like a no-look yellow card to a young boy defender. I just found it hilarious as fuck. You've not even seen that. It was definitely a yellow card, but you've not even seen it. You go to right, but you never saw it. I just found it comical.
But no, is that the one that was actually the fourth official? told him.
The fourth official definitely
is.
get involved for the first one against the number 35. I don't know if the fourth official got involved with the second one. It might have done so, yeah.
I remember that with the fourth official. You could clearly his attention to look, that's a foul and book him.
Because the ref running down the track and pointing at him.
Yeah.
I think for me, Maeda, it was silly for Maeda. I think it probably was a lot of tired frustration came into it. He was feeling the wee niggles, and he lashes out. And I think the problem is, and it just shows that not just our VAR, but just VAR in general. That's when VAR is not used properly in the sense that the first picture that referee sees when he's already gone over there, subconsciously probably gone, I've made the wrong decision here. I've booked him and they've called me to come and look at something. So subconsciously, he's probably gone over there looking, going, like, where have I got this wrong? Where have I got this wrong? Because they're essentially telling me I have to have another look. So I must have got it wrong. And the first thing they see is a still image of Maeda kicking him. And you're like, well, it doesn't. For there, I know the show replays, but for there, it's like, what's the point? You've showed a still image of him being kicking. There's nothing for there on him that you're going to see that has got to tell you that's not a red card. So I think for me, I think it was San Fran said it as well. The ref's hands were tied for there on. And I think that's just VAR in general when they show for it. I think they type of decisions should be shown in real time. Don't get to look as many angles as possibly there, but I don't think it should be slowed down. It should be shown in real time. Still images can just look how you want them to look at the end of the day.
Am I right in saying that's twice he's been sent off and it's both been in European games?
Because it got sent off against Atletico for blocking the ball. And
they have not been bad tackles or anything like that. So it has been very unfortunate.
A free game ban, did they know?
He's not. I think he's not a dirty player. He's certainly not a dirty player. So it's just unfortunate. I think we're going to miss him for maybe 2 or 3 games.
Like it, Paul McFarlane, me away playing words saying loving Gavin being United and his hate for Rangers tonight. I like what he's done there.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys one thing? It was about Kyogo leaving, and it brings me back to a comment that a more prominent Celtic podcaster than what maybe we are. It's I think her name is Laura Bradburn. She used to be on Axon, and she's on a different Celtic podcast now. I think it might be the Celtic Underground, which I'm quite a fan of because they're very, very stats driven. And I think it was about whenever after Kyogo signed for Celtic, I think somebody asked, it might have been like we've signed a Japanese player Kyogo, and somebody might have put in social media, should we sign another Japanese player to kind of make him to help strengthen the squad and to kind of make him feel more at home that he's got another Japanese speaking player. It might have been like somebody suggested like that, or the fact that we were rumoured to Maeda or Kyogo, and somebody said, well, that's good because then he'll feel more at home because he'll have more Japanese speaking players. And I think Laura Bradburn said, well, that's kind of, I think the word she used was, that's quite infantilizing or something like that. It was basically quite patronizing yes. that Kyogo needs that to be a player. And so I wanted to kind of use the same kind of wisdom here, but on the flip side, the fact that Kyogo's leaving, do any of you guys precipitate the breakup of the remaining Japanese duo that we've got at Parkhead? Do you think that it might at all have any consequence in hastening the departure of either Maeda or Hatate? Now, I know that Maeda, he's got his own family here. He's got a bunch of kids, and I'm sure that he does his own thing. I don't know that he socialises with Kyogo. Maybe it has no impact on him at all. But do you think the fact that Kyogo's leaving will have any impact whatsoever on the futures of Hatate and Maeda? Or am I being patronising?
No, well, personally, I would say no. I think it's a fair question in the sense. I know what you're trying to say. Personally, I would say no in the sense in terms of Hatate, because he's publicly came out and sort of said how he would like to see his career progress. So I think he's obviously not just Hatate, but I think many football players have got an idea how they would like their career to go. So, and for me, I would not be surprised, even if Kyogo was still here. It would have not surprised me if Hatate leaves at the end of this season. I kind of fully expect him to go at the end of the season. I think it might just be one of the ones, a natural progression for some players have been. I know obviously there's Forrest and McGregor's and things like that, and even Ralston's, but foreign players and maybe more so Asian, or well, not necessarily just Asian, but certainly from further away continents, I feel like, they don't really hang about as long. So to have these guys for that long, were doing well in the first place. So personally, for me, I think Hatate, I've kind of made peace with I say kind of made, I think I'll be gutted when he does go, but I fully expect him to leave in the summer. Maeda, I just didn't want him to go. As much as I think Kyle was brilliant, Hatate's brilliant, still a wee bit of me thinks Maeda's the most important to the team. As silly as that sounds, if that makes any sort of sense.
Yeah, he's a massive cog in the Celtic machine. Massive, like, despite the fact that he can be sometimes frustrating in his offensive prowess, but let's not forget that I think this season he's projecting to be the highest numbers, goals and assists. I've already said that, so let's not forget that.
But Gam, what you've got to remember as well, both Hatate and Maeda are a lot younger than Kyogo.
That's true.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I do believe that they two will be away in the summer because we probably can get top dollar for them. The rumour is...
Maeda will go?
Yes. I can't see the comment. Is Corvo on tonight?
I've not seen him.
I've not seen him, no.
The rumour is that Newcastle are interested in Maeda. So, as a club, as a selling club, guys, unfortunately we are. Don't be surprised if both players are away in the summer when we can get top dollar for them.
Jed, you're killing me here, man.
I know. But you've got, listen, it worked that when Ange came in, he brought in players he knew from the market that he worked in. And it has proven to be very successful. The Japanese guys, even Awata got a bad injury in the first game, but everybody, he's doing well in Birmingham. It's unfortunate, he just never got a great chance. His injury didn't help up here. But the Japanese players in general have been fantastic for us and for the club. Now, obviously, the South Korean, we still got good money for O. And Yang, people are still wanting me to do well. So we were lucky that Ange knew these players. The 3 Japanese boys have come in who were playing at the weekend during the week and have been fantastic for the club. But unfortunately, I do think they will be away. Even if Kyogo was here, I do think they'll be away in the summer because of the age they are, and Celtic can get top dollar for them.
See, the only thing about Maeda is he's world class in pressing, like everybody said that. Okay, that's not my own line. However, attacking wise, he can really, really frustrate you. And I think that's just an honest assessment. So I have my doubts about the level that he can gravitate to in terms of like signing for a better team. I know that what you're saying about Newcastle, that rumour, but I think that Newcastle would probably be better off with who was the guy that Jack Grealish had slated, the Paraguayan forward for Newcastle. You know who I'm talking about?
That Almiron, is it?
Yeah, Almiron.
But he can't get a game now.
Yeah,
I think he's away to America.
Oh yeah, but I would still say that Almiron is a far better player offensively than Maeda. I just think that there is a reason that Maeda plays for Celtic and he's not been scooped up by a better club than us. If you're looking for pressing, amazing. But if you're looking for consistency in terms of what he can offer at wise, then don't expect consistency. Sometimes he'll be great. Sometimes he'll be erratic. Sometimes you'll just be like, oh my God, what's this guy doing? We love Maida. We love him. But for a better club, they might think this is not really this is not the guy that the YouTube clips really promised us, you know. So that's what I'm saying. But I really hope Maida stays. Jed, I know that what you're saying, Stephen in our podcast was right about Kyogo leaving this season. Maybe you're right about Rio and Maida leaving at the end of this season. I think I'd probably want to keep Maida over Rio. I think Rio is maybe more replaceable.
Yeah, I think we all would.
That's it, because Tom Daly's asking that question.
Yeah.
If we could keep one, who would you keep? Aye.
Maeda. I keep Maeda.
Yeah, I think Rio is maybe more replaceable, but sometimes it's kind of difficult to replace that guy who's mercurial, that type of talent. Guy, we've signed a lot of players in that kind of number 10 position. I think like Juninho, that, and a totally different player, but Scott Allen, was that his name? Scott Allen for Hibs. A lot of players who we hoped, like Fernandez for Livingston. I know that's some lower caliber clubs that I'm talking about that we signed from, but players who can operate in that number 10. And I get that the game's kind of progressed where you don't have traditional number 10s, but because nowadays you need to kind of defensive responsibilities as well. So I still think that Rio will be the easier player to replace, but still that doesn't come easily, because somebody who can produce a rabbit at the hat is hard to come by. But Mike is a one of a kind.
Well, guys, let's be honest, but for a we're getting a new midfielder coming in anyway. I think Lennon Miller will be coming to Celtic.
See, I would have liked to see it happen this month, but I think his injuries maybe just going to rule that out.
So Udinese put in a couple of £1 million bid, and it's been rejected.
Yeah.
So we know where to start at the end of the day.
Italian football is becoming a threat now for
I think it's Lewis Ferguson. Hickey obviously went over there and done well. Lewis Ferguson's fucking flying over there, and to maybe a bit of a less extent, Ewan Henderson went over there and done fairly well. I think he was one of the first to go over there and carved out a decent enough career over there. So, it's maybe just the money isn't what it used to be in Italy, but they're maybe realising they can get decent enough players for decent enough money to then sell on, because I think they're talking upwards of 20 million for Lewis Ferguson now, which is, I mean, fair play to him.
Aye, he get the award, the Serie A award for best midfielder in the league, and then in the Champions League there they just beat, was it Dortmund 2-1? Bologna beat Dortmund 2-1. It was because Nuri Sahin gets sacked the following day. They scored They scored 2 quick-fire goals, but Lewis Ferguson was the captain for that team. I think
he is Bologna's captain.
Yeah.
I think he's actually
guys. He was a decent player, by the way.
Aye,
even at Aberdeen, he was a decent player. Fantastic penalty taker as well. He was a decent player, and he's probably only got better going over to Italy.
Aye, probably.
Do you think, Jed? Kind of saying this tongue in cheek, but do you think he could have been? And I know he's a big physical player. Do you think he could have been the Wanyama type of player for Celtic if we bought him?
Who? Ferguson?
I don't know. Is he that type of player? I'll be honest.
I wouldn't have thought he's that type of player.
He's a very industrious. I'm kind of tongue in cheek.
I think he's kind of like a Bernardo type, isn't he? If I would kind of put him similar, I think he's plays similar to Bernardo, where it's maybe a wee bit old school and gets about, if you like, in the midfield. But I listen to open goal, and I think his dad Eric Ferguson said that both Celtic and Rangers were interested, but it never really went any further than that.
I do think he would have came to Celtic.
Well, Derek Ferguson said he wouldn't have held it against them at the end of the day. He was like, I mean, we know what we are, but I would not have held it against them. But I don't think it kind of went any further. I don't think there was any bids or any actual official chat. If memory serves me right, when they've kind of spoke about him from time to time on open goal, I think that's what they have said, is that it never, him and them and Celtic and Rangers, I don't really think it went any more than initial inquiries, I feel like.
Well, Rangers just asked how many ginger bottles is it? We've got 2 lorry loads full. So
I didn't would have probably done, but
Rangers got rid of him when he was a 14-year-old, Lewis Ferguson.
It's mental. It's mental. But this podcast has went all manners of ways there. All manners. It's brilliant. I love that. Love it. But unless you've got any other questions, Gav, I'm done.
Can I just say an on this day feature? So this was apparently
suppose that I've got a birthday with another random pedo.
I never said anything about that at all.
Well, you disclosed you somehow worked it that I had the same birthday as Rolf Harris.
Look, you said that it was your birthday. This was a podcast months ago. You said it was your birthday. I keep my birthday to myself, but obviously you said it was your birthday, and I was hosting that night. So I'm like,
was it actually Jimmy Savile? I think it was worse. I think it was Jimmy Savile, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Jimmy Savile. It was the man, Jimmy Savile. So
I don't think you can say one's better than the other when it comes to that.
Probably no, Jay.
Both of them should have been shot. So let's not kill ourselves.
Yeah, so I just did that, like famous people who were born on Franny's birthday, and one of them happened to be Jimmy Savile. I just kept that name till the end for comic effect.
I was happy with I was happy with more than it all went downhill for there.
Can I just say, so can I on this day feature a couple of random ones? So I think this was, let me do my maths because I've always got a calculator on my desk here. Yeah, 134 years ago to this day. So 24th of January, back in 1891, Celtic were forced to play the whole game with only 10 after Mick McKeown missed the train. Can you imagine that? You miss public transport and we're down to 10 men. Celtic lost 3-1 to the Vale of Leven. And Sandy McMahon, who I think he's in our top 10 goal scorers, Sandy McMahon. He made his first ever Celtic appearance in that same game. So that's quite if you were there, maybe. I wonder what it was like to be a football fan back then to watch a game. But anyway, Sandy McMahon makes his debut and his teammate missed the train. So we're down men and we lost 3-1. And another one, a wee bit more kind of closer to home, 2010, 24th of January 2010, St Johnstone won, Celtic 4. It was in it was a league game. Celtic were down 1-0 at half-time to a penalty, but we fought back strongly. So we scored 4 goals in the second half, and Darren O'Day was made captain due to injuries. So there we go. Aye. And very, very unfortunately, on the 25th of January, 1916, Sandy McMahon passed away. So a legend passed away. So anyway, that was the feature for on this day, Franny. I thought I would add to it.
Well, you've got your own gaff. You need to do your thing. Today's your thing. But no, that's it for tonight. As I say, if you're travelling to the game tomorrow, just be cautious. As I said, I don't think the weather's to be anywhere near where it is today, but
no, it's certainly calmed down here now. You can
tell as well, Jed, after he sat at the window here, it's proper calmed down, but maybe some of the roads and things might not be great, so be cautious if you're going to the game, anybody that's got to the game, if indeed it goes ahead. But no, thanks for getting involved. There's been some good comments, some good chat. These have actually gave us some questions that have kind of brought this on a wee bit as well, which has been good. But I'll start with yourself, Gav. Have you enjoyed this tonight?
Franny, I thought you've been a fantastic host, and I like.
I'm only as good as a guest. I'm
loving the retro talk. It's been fantastic. I actually just saw a crazy rumor that Celtic have been linked with Tammy Abraham, the player the striker who used to play for Chelsea. He went away to Roma, did he?
I think he's at AC Milan now, but
I think he was at Bristol City as well, that guy as well.
I'm mixture of clubs then. I just but I guess I'm a wee bit worried if his name is getting brought up because we don't want to go for the 22-year-old Fiskard who kind of fits the model. But anyway, aye, look, but can we just say the exit of a not a legend, but a modern day icon, Kyogo, brilliant memories. Somebody who for the last 3.5 years has just been iconic, amazing memories. He's brought so much, and we wish him. I wish him well. I really do. Gutted, but that's the thing. Like I remember when I was younger, Paolo Di Canio left. I remember speaking to Tommy Burns when I was getting his autograph. I'm like, "Is Di Canio really going to leave?" And he says, "You don't worry about that. Don't you worry about that." And I guess that's what it is. You know, we move on. We let brilliant players go. We bring in new players as well, and we go on. But Kyogo, amazing memories. I'm just gutted that he's gone. Gutted.
No, totally. Good words again, Gav. But what about yourself, Jed? Do you enjoyed this?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And just to follow what Gavin said, yeah, very sad to see Kyogo go. You know, we have lost better players than Kyogo, but there is no one player bigger in the club. There is a space now for someone to come and be the new cult hero.
That's it. Aye, totally.
So
totally.
there is a wee opportunity for someone.
No, I couldn't disagree. As I say, none of us wishing the guy away, but sad to see him go. But there is, like you say, it's there for somebody else to then become that hero. Move in his footsteps and emulate, or hopefully do better than what he's done. I mean, if anybody comes in and emulates him, we'll have done well. We've done well. But I say that's us for the night, lads, and we shall love yous and leave yous. As I say, hopefully the fences aren't too bad. I think it was Brown Warriors claiming he's a fencer, so he can maybe get his number in the within the chat and make use it. He'll be on a fortune. If he's actually a fencer, he'll be on a fortune. Because I know my fence is down. I think Ross's fence is down. So there's a few fences down in our area. So all you guys will be busy. But no, seriously, I hope the weather's been as kind as it can be. It's been a bit horrible. So as Stephen would say, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.